Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Blu Lirette. Hi.
How do we know each other?
Mike, open mic. Yeah, we met. You came one day, and then we just started talking.
Yeah, I think, well, at the start of this year, I was like, I'm going to go a little bit more on trying to perform a lot more. So I just looked up open mics in OKC, and that was one of them. And I tried a few other ones, but that one is the one that has stuck with me because it's the coolest.
Yeah, it's very homey. Everyone's super weird and nice and accepting, so it's a good place.
Also, I knew Mars actually beforehand.
Yeah, same here. That's who invited me originally.
But yeah, who are you? What do you do?
I'm Blue. I'm a photographer. It's basically all I do. Constantly at shows taking photos or doing portraits or just out and about with friends. I go to a lot of mics, way too many mics. And comedy shows, those are fun. Yeah, I kind of just do my own thing. Yeah. Explore, venture.
Why photography?
Ever since I was little, I've always kind of had a camera in my hands, and it was always just a really good way of self-expression for me. And I started in video, and then it kind of slowly progressed to photography, and then I don't know, people started paying me for it, and I was like, wow, I like this. I'm not terrible at it. Let's keep doing it, and it just really stuck, and it's all I really care about or really do now.
Yeah,
but
what makes photography, I guess, important to you as opposed to if you could be doing music or performing or whatever it is else that is an art form?
I think it's really rewarding to have a vision and then kind of put work towards it and try to figure out, hey, how am I going to make this happen or how make this look like this? And putting your best efforts up front to kind of create whatever that is. And that's just super rewarding. It's super good to be hey, I did this. So for me, it's I guess the process of it that makes it so special to have that final product that you wanted or you worked so hard just to see what's in your head right in front of you.
Yeah. So I guess, normally I have a lot of musicians on the podcast. It's a little bit different, but do you have photography influences?
There's a girl named K-Darg on Instagram, and she's she does a lot of band photography. She has a lot of colors, and she's just wonderful and great, and she really inspired me. There is Great People. They're also on Instagram. They do a lot of dual colors, fashion photography, and they're super, super cool. Not so much my style, but they're really good to look at, and that kind of made me want to take more photos. And
yeah. Is there a fan thing? Again, the context of music, but it seems that Instagram has its own sort of fandom, if you will, people with millions of followers that take pictures.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's all about networking, get yourself out there. But Instagram isn't the best for photographers, despite it being for photos, just because the algorithm and then they compress every photo ever, and that's super annoying as a photographer to work super hard to get shots, and then that happens. But it's a profession, it's a hobby, it's just I see it really common nowadays. Everyone kind of is oh, I'm a photographer, I can take photos, or I have a camera. Sure. So it's I feel on Instagram or things that you can post photos like that, they thrive really good because it's it's just a form of self-expression, and people just expressing themselves.
Yeah. Where do you want to be as a photographer in the future, or are you kind of already there?
I always thought I wanted a studio, but now more that I do it, I kind of realize I want to do advertising. So when you go to the store, Target, for example, and you see a model wearing a dress, I want to take photos of that. I think it's super cool.
How is that different from doing a studio?
Not really much different at all. I like studio work. It's fun. I find it easier, but it's relatively the same, whether it's for personal use or for promotional use.
Yeah. And then what's the nitty gritty of once you got into photography and you go, oh, I need to understand all of this nonsense. Like, what's the depth in there that people don't really know about?
For a long time, I didn't know manual settings wasn't a thing.
Sure.
Where you have to actually like adjust your camera to whatever you're shooting, and that was really, really hard to learn. It's something I'm constantly still learning about. It's just tough. I feel like if you have that nailed down, then you can pretty much do photography, honestly. But there's a lot to it that people don't really think that mainly has to do with manual settings or lighting or times to shoot in the day, what to shoot, what angles to shoot. Like a lot of people just don't really think about it until you do it consistently. It's like, oh yeah, and then it just clicks.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also a part of, I mean, you tend to shoot people. And that's very different from like doing landscapes or architecture or macros or whatever. So what changes for you being a photographer of humans?
Like, what do you mean? Like,
what are skills that are necessary?
Okay. Your client or your model's comfort is like top priority. You want them to feel comfortable, because if they aren't, that shows through photos. So something that I always like recommend people just have a playlist and just kind of play music. That always like helps everyone get loose. But with that, you have to focus. You primarily want to focus on eyes, because that really speaks a lot in a photo. So work on like posture, their facial expressions, angle them good. Like you want it to look flattering. You want it to like, if you want the photo to have emotion or not, it depends on how you model them and pose them. But it is harder to do work with models rather than like, say advertising or promo type of photography, because like if it's a product, it's a lot easier. You don't have to like worry about, hey, you have to look like this or do this thing. So it is harder, but I think it's a lot funner. You get to connect with people, and it's super good.
And then you also spend a lot of time on the other side of the camera, and you tend to do a lot of your self-portraits. How do you, I mean, one, how do you take the pictures, because you're not holding it? But then what skills are necessary to being a model?
Ooh, okay. Being a model is like, I feel like there's no right way of doing it. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. It's a lot harder, I find, than being behind the camera, but I don't know, it's fun. It's just, I don't know how to put it in words, but when I do like self-portraits, for example, I'm lucky because I have Wi-Fi on my camera, so I have an app, so I can see myself through my app.
Oh, cool.
But before that, I had to like just do a self-timer and then hurry and run in place and just hope it was focused on me, hope the lighting was okay, and it was like a trial and error, and it took me hours and hours for each shoot. So that's super helpful that I do have Wi-Fi, that I'm like, that's accessible for me, but I don't know, it's a lot easier to do them by myself compared to someone else taking it, because I know what I like, and I don't know, it's just I've been doing modeling recently for other people, and that's kind of terrifying, because like the photographer has their own vision, so you kind of want to do what they want you to do, and like that's so scary. So I just prefer taking the photos, but it's good to model every now and then.
And then I guess, how do you make all this stuff happen? Like you're also doing a lot of makeup, a lot of like paint, a lot of setup and making the room happen. How?
It's a lot of prep work and planning. I have to think about, I typically start with makeup and then work with hair and then set up lights and then backdrops, test shots. It's a long process, but you have to kind of like write everything out, or just like really know like what you're doing, because if not, you're going to spend hours and it'd be for nothing. Yeah.
And then editing. How much time to spend editing?
It depends. For band photos, it could take me like 4 hours on one image, or if it's like a self-portrait, I could spend like 10 minutes if I want. Like it just really depends what you're working with, but editing is the worst part.
Yeah, and then you're also doing like, there's also a separate skill in shooting people on stage. So what does that mean? What does that change for you as a photographer?
It's a lot harder to do, because typically it's like a darker setting. So I have to have like a low f-stop, and I only have one lens that's actually capable of capturing photos in a darker area like that. So I'm constantly using, and it's not really a good lens to use for that. It's a portrait lens, but it's like so it's not good for what I use it for. But it all goes with like you knowing your lighting and like if your equipment can handle said lighting.
Yeah. Physics.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'll touch on it too. You put some risky stuff out there of yourself. And I mean, you also talk a lot about how like you want to feel comfortable with yourself. And whenever you do, you actually do feel comfortable posting these images of yourself. So what goes into that, and how do you, I guess, get over the fact that, hey, you are kind of posting yourself in your underwear or whatever?
Yeah. I had really bad body images, like issues with myself. I didn't wear shorts for the first time until I was like 14, and I just did not like how I looked, and it like led me to a lot of destructive things, and I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done that were not good for my health or just for myself in general. Like just it was bad, and things I like regret and shouldn't have done. So now I'm comfortable in my skin, and I want to embrace that, and I know how it is to kind of hate yourself for how you look. So I think it's like, for me, I want other people to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, it's fine if I look like this. It's fine if I do this. And not only that, but photography and art, like nudity and that, I always find it, like, I think it's beautiful. Like, I don't really view the body as sexual. I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So recently I posted a photo where I'm like completely nude. And like some people were like, oh, okay, and made kind of nasty remarks. And it's like, what do you expect? Like, it happens, but to me, it's more empowering than anything. It's just, I don't know. People were like, aren't you worried about future employers like seeing that and be like, hey, no, you can't work here because like, you know, you have this on the internet forever. But for me, it's more of just, hey, we all have a body. This is mine. This is it.
Yeah. And I mean, you're also like, since you are a model and photographer, you've got this is a part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys are dicks. How do you like? Obviously, like every woman that posts anything remotely womanly on the internet gets a tidal wave of shit. Please give some perspective to that, because I'm a dude and I don't get that.
When I post a lot of photos like that, I typically get messages of guys either sending me inappropriate photos of themselves that I did not ask for, or of them. I've had a lot of people be like, oh, well, I do this type of photography. I do like nudity, like for photographers or whatever. And like, can you send me more pictures? And like, they keep urging, like, no, like I want fully nude ones. Or I had one guy message me and was just like, 'cause I posted the censored version. I had one with my my chest out, but I censored it on Instagram, but not on Twitter. And some guy was like, oh, like I want the non-censored version. And I was like, well, why? And he was saying, well, I think it's like, it's beautiful or whatever. And like anyone who like tells you have to censor it, like they're wrong. And like just had this long message that just made me feel kind of creepy. And I'm like, just say you want to see my boobs. Like, it's fine. And like, so I get a lot of that, or people just pretending to be like something else to see more. And I think it's a lot like people know I'm comfortable with my body and myself. So they're like, oh, well, she's probably more willing to show this, but like, it's not about that. Like, it's not sexual at all for me. And I don't want other people to think it's sexual, but you definitely do get some comments of people saying some like nasty things or like requests, but like, that's just life. Like, you just got to block them, move on.
Well, I mean, that's a very, like, because not a lot of people can handle that. And I guess, like, I do want to know how everyone does handle that, because, yeah, guys don't know the extent to which, or a lot of people don't know the extent to which people are disgusting. But I think I also see it happening with like women too. Like, women also attack you for being like free about it.
Yeah, I do get it too. I get slut shames and stuff a lot for photos I post, and like it's some people, I think, like they would assume like it's sad because it's like, oh, like women should support women. But to me, it's like, if you don't like seeing that, then like it's okay. Like, just don't look at my stuff. Like, we could just respect each other. Like, we can have different beliefs. We could just respect each other. Some people feel like they have to put their comment in, their input in.
Right.
Especially when it's like someone posting their body. Like, that's very vulnerable. That's very scary sometimes. And like, so for someone to make a comment about that is kind of crappy. But I don't know. Some people take it differently than others. It was something that I struggled with for a long time. And I just had to learn, like, hey, people are going to say something about me no matter what I do, no matter what I post, whether I'm naked or not on the internet. So I'm just going to do what I want and do what I like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, people can suck.
What's a hurdle in photography that you've gotten over in the past that you never really thought that you would? And then what's something that you're still kind of working on getting better at now?
I have a lot of my photos being copied. And that's really hard because it's when you put so much of yourself into something and you care about it and you're proud of it, and then have someone copy it and then be like, this is mine, like, so forth and so on. That's kind of like, oh, okay, like, that sucks. Like, I don't really care about this piece of work that I just spent hours on anymore, because it just kind of ruins it. Which people typically have like the same concept. Things can always look the same.
Sure.
But I've had a lot of my work directly, like, side-by-side copied. And that's very frustrating because it's like I put so much of myself into my work. To have that done, it's like that's a constant struggle that I'm constantly dealing with this just one particular person. And it's like, that's the worst. That's definitely a hurdle that I'm still trying to get over. So, I don't know. We'll get over it eventually, hopefully. I don't know.
And then what's something that you have, like, yes, I have mastered the aperture and I know exactly how to do it?
I feel like it's always a learning process. Like, I have sets that I do now that I just don't release because I'm like, well, this sucks. I don't like it. Like, because I feel like I'm capable of doing better. So it's like, I don't really think I have anything where I'm set like, oh yeah, I'm like,
sure.
Like, I'm like, I can do this. I have belief in myself that I can make this look good, but it's always like a gamble. Like, you never know how something's gonna turn out. So there's nothing I'm like fully on, like, oh yeah, like I'm the best at this, or I'm like, self-portraits are my thing. Those are the only things I'm kind of like, oh yeah, like I can make something out of anything with this. But other than that, like, it's just all a gamble. I'm just hoping that, like, hey, hopefully this doesn't suck.
Yeah. Something else about visual art specifically too is that it's so fast. Like, everything is contained in this one instant, but then also people receive it in an instant, as opposed to music, like, takes time to, like, consume and, you know, take it in. So how do you work with that sort of instant gratification? I don't think gratification is the word, but like that instant reception as opposed to getting to experience something over time?
I guess it's good because I don't have to wait for like immediate response on my work or whatever I post. It is like you do directly get it once you release whatever you post, and like that's really cool. I never really thought about it, honestly. But that makes sense. I feel like music is something that you have to like kind of take time to like really appreciate it and really listen to everything going on to a song or into an album. Where photography is kind of just like, hey, this is what this is. Look at this. So it is different things, but yeah, they are comparable. But I don't know. I never really thought about that, so I'm not really fully sure how to answer that.
That's okay. And then again, more of a music related question, but like, is there such a thing as selling out?
Oh, for sure. I think with anything and everything, people definitely will sell out. Yeah.
How does that work with photography?
Using people to get a higher step to work with bigger people. Pretty much just, using people in the industry to get better jobs or have your stuff seen out more, or just shady methods of trying to expose yourself, I guess.
Yeah. And there is kind of a level of, or it's sort of blurrier with art and like marketing and products. So like at what level of that gradient are you in art versus product?
Majority of it is art. I do a lot of my shoots for free, and a lot of my shoots that I post are of myself. So it's more of just art, or it's just like a form of self-expression or fun. When it's product, that's like a whole, like that's stressful because I'm like, I have to make sure like my clients like this, and that's a whole different ball game. I'm good at, I think, separating the two, although most people don't separate the two. Yeah. But for me, one's for fun and one's like professional. So I'm like, I have to get like, this has to look good, you know? So it's a lot more pressure.
Do you separate art from the artist?
Ooh, kind of. It depends. Like a lot of famous artists, I don't really ever concern myself with. I never really like look into like who they were, what they did. I probably should. Yeah. So I guess in a sense, I really do separate. But when it's smaller artists, I typically am like, well, you did this thing, so like I'm not gonna like your photo, even if I like it. I'm not gonna like physically like it on like social media, which I guess is kind of petty. But I try to separate. But for the most part, I don't think so.
Yeah. What advice do you have for photographers starting out?
Ooh, whenever you see a subject, try to think of how everyone's taking that photo and then do it differently. Focus on lighting, colors, focus on what you want to do, what you want to create, what you want people to think or feel whenever they see this photo. Lighting's also everything. Like without that, like you can make a good photo if you have good lighting. Easy. Just don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with it. You know, remember why you did this. It's a hobby. It's good. You feel good about it. It's fun to create. When it becomes a money thing, then you're kind of like losing yourself with it, and you don't want to do that. But just go out, take photos, have a good time. Whenever like you have any free time, go to the city, go to the town, wherever you're at, and just take photos, go home. You can delete them if you want. It's just practice. Like practice makes perfect with everything. And I don't think people really realize that for photography, but just keep going out and doing what you love and you'll get there.
Yeah. What stuff like pisses you off whenever you're doing a shoot? It's like, I hate these stupid like industrial lights or
there's like poles in the way or like things in the background. It's like I hate Photoshop. If I can not Photoshop anything, I don't want to deal with it. I hate Photoshop. Things are constantly in the way. If you're doing like street photography and there's people walking that you don't want them in there, have to take them out. That takes forever. There's so many things that are so frustrating. My light does my light equipment, like they're different wattages, both my bulbs are. So like they just look not good together. And one's kind of yellow tone and one's kind of blue tone. That's very stressful because I have to try to even that out. Yeah. It just doesn't look too good always. Yeah, pretty much anything can go wrong, anything, and that's scary. One of my last shoots that I did, my camera actually went underwater, and I was that was stressful. So everything you do, you have to be careful, but it's also like there's so much that could go wrong that you're just like, oh no, this sucks.
And then what stuff in a shoot makes you excited? You're like, oh yes, this is perfect. I don't even have to do anything.
When you get like the right filter over a photo, that's super exciting. I'm like, oh, this looks so cool. I like this. It really ties a photo together. Posing sometimes, like if I like take photos, whatever myself, and I see it on my camera, I'm like, oh, like I love the way that looks. I can't wait to go home and edit that and like have that posted. I don't know. It's just when you see something that you do like if it's like, this is kind of like the image I wanted to portray, seeing that or working with that, that's always really rewarding, and I get really excited about that. Like I turn into a big kid. Or if I go like out sometimes, like people get so mad at me if I go out somewhere and like the sun's hitting like this certain spot a right way, or there's like this pretty field of flowers. I like lose my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is perfect if you get from this angle and you have someone wearing this outfit and you do this, and like I do it all the time. People get so mad about it, but
it's great.
I just love what I do. So yeah, I guess it's like really the key of that. You gotta love what you do, but it's, I don't know. For the most part, it's very exciting.
How does social media affect the art? Like, I mean, I don't know how, if you've been a photographer without social media, but like, how does that affect what you're doing?
A lot of people are subconsciously influenced by other artists, which is okay. It's good. We all get inspired by other people, which can cause like a lot of copying, which again, that's not always intentional. That sometimes that just happens. Or people kind of, I guess, in a way, like back to the sellout thing, can try to sell themselves out on social media with not so much promotional work, like they like pay to get their photos out, but using people in the industry to kind of be like, hey, my page, look at my page or whatever. Or I don't know. I think it's more of like subconsciously copying other people's stuff, but it's also, I think, a good thing at the same time, because it's like, I like to post my stuff. I post a lot of my stuff on Twitter, and it's fun because I get really inspired by seeing other people's stuff, and then people like sometimes can get inspired by my stuff. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, does kind of everything have to live through social media?
No and yes. I feel like if you really want to be a photographer, you kind of have to have social media, because otherwise people aren't going to see your stuff. Or, you say, oh, I have a camera. Some people have cameras. You have to like actually see the work there. So I think if you really want to take photography serious, or really any, like if you do video and things like that, if you want to take it serious, I feel like you kind of have to have some form of social media. Yeah. Just to kind of get your stuff out there. If not, you're not going to get hired.
Yeah. All right. Since there's no good transition into it, what is the role of spirituality or religion in your life?
Well, I've kind of switched around for a long time. I was agnostic for a few years. I was Catholic. I went to a lot of Baptist church. I just jumped around a lot, and it's just something that things never really clicked with me. I've always kind of been more agnostic, where I was like, I have my own beliefs. I'm more spiritual, but I still go to church almost every Sunday, which I guess is kind of ironic, because I don't really believe anything they ever say in there. But I have a good connection, I guess, like with myself and like with people around me. So to me, that's good enough than having a relationship with God, because that was just something that never really interested me. But I see why people do it. Like, I think it's a good thing. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Why do you go to church?
My family goes, and it's like, it's really nice. It's been time with them. And like, sometimes I do go and like, they say like a really nice message, and I just cry, and like, I don't believe everything they say, or I don't feel everything they say, but it still gets me thinking about my life and things I need to change and things I should do to improve, you know.
What is your definition of God?
A higher being that, I guess, wants everyone to be the best versions of themselves. I think in that stance, it's a good thing, but I feel like people put a lot of pressure on themselves, or they have hatred come from it, where they're like, well, you're supposed to be like this, and like, I don't like you now because of that. And that's like something I don't like about religion. But I feel like overall the concept of it is being the best version of yourself. And that's like what God wants you to be. Yeah.
I need to reframe this question. That's not a yes or no, but is free will an illusion, or even just free will ?
I think free will is just free will. I don't know how else to express that, but I think everyone does have their own chance or option to make whatever choice they want.
Cool. How do you determine what good behavior is?
If it makes you feel nice, it makes someone else feel nice. When you're putting other people before yourself, which it's good to be selfish sometimes, but it's also, if you're empathetic, you sympathize with other people, I think that's good.
Yeah. No, that didn't sound wrong to me. How do we reduce the division that, I guess, both politically but also in general, that has sort of become more prevalent in our society?
Okay, that's a scary topic, because people, when they disagree, they typically go at each other's throats, which isn't a very productive form of communicating. But I think everyone needs to educate themselves, or try to like listen. Everyone just needs to listen. Like, if you hear someone else's opinion, it might shift your own. It's easier just to listen to someone than fight at them for not believing what you believe. Right. I think it's a lot of the issue that we have in society. People just, this is my opinion and it's right because it's mine. And that's not a good way to go. You know, people just don't care to sit down and talk to one another anymore.
Yeah. What makes you optimistic for our future?
there's still good people out there. People, again, like putting themselves first. If I see people like donating, if there's someone outside the road that's like, hey, I need money, I need food or whatever, and you doing your part to kind of like help with that, or you just putting an effort out, genuine effort out, overall, just try to make the world better. Like, I don't know, people recycle. I'm like, you're a good person. Because like, I don't know, just things like that. Like, it's just good things to help out those around you in the world. And does that answer that? No, I don't know.
Well, I mean, what makes that hard to answer? We know the obvious reasons, but go ahead.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I'm like, confused. It's like, oh, I'm not optimistic about the future or whatever. Like,
I'm getting to the point where I'm not. I think people aren't really, I don't know. I'm very climate change. That's huge. That's real. Like, people get freaked out by that. And I'm like, in that sense, I don't have any hope. Like, I think we're all screwed. But people being people, we're decent. I feel like we're kind of steering away. So I have both hope and not hope. I want to be optimistic. And I feel like a lot of people are not so much optimistic or pessimistic. They're kind of just like here. They're like, they don't really have an opinion. They don't really think about it. They're kind of just like living now.
Yeah.
What's that?
This is actually a question that should have been on the podcast a long time ago, but do you believe people are inherently good or bad or neutral?
To an extent. I feel like you definitely are influenced by who raised you, what you're around. I think everyone is, no matter what it is. So if you're around people who view, I guess, like, say drugs, they're like, oh, I love drugs. Drugs are cool. Drugs are great. You're more liable to try them or to enjoy them, where I also feel like you can be aware of your own decisions. Like, as you get older, you can, like, kind of venture off and make those yourself. So yes and no. I feel like it's learned behaviors as well as, like, some things can be inherent, but you can get out of those. Like, you can train yourself out of those, if you will.
Yeah. What makes you happy?
Photography, family, friends. Just, the usual.
What advice do you have for people in general?
If people want to criticize or judge you, then they're not really relevant to your life. Use what they say to impact you, to create something better for yourself, better for your life. Set more goals. Don't procrastinate. That's gonna be the downfall for everyone. Just don't procrastinate. Easier said than done, but life's short. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to look back and be like, wow, I regret this, or I should have did this. Just take chances. Like, if there's a girl that you like, go for it. You're just gonna reject yourself. You don't say, hey. If there's a skill that you're like, I want to do this, but I don't have time, or like you want to learn a different language, just do it. Like, why not? Just do it. So really live your life to the fullest, which is, I know, is so cliche and everyone says that, but seriously, you just kind of, if there's something that you don't like about yourself or about your life, then go out and change it and make it better. And I think that's just my general advice.
Yeah. Cake or pie?
Cake, all the way.
Wow.
All the way.
I haven't had that many, like, resounding cakes. What is the best cake then?
Ooh, I really like strawberry cake or any kind of lemon cake. Ooh, lemon anything is just superior. It's above everything else. So good. I don't know, I've never been really big on pies, so I don't really care for I don't know, but like any cake really is good, but preferably chocolate or strawberry or lemon, obviously.
Why do you hang around, like, performances and, like, creative people as opposed to, like, the business types? Because you could also just do, like, photography as a business or whatever. So why more on the creative side, I guess?
There was a time where I started doing it where I was thinking about money, and I just didn't want it to be like that, because it's always been a self-expression or a creative outlet for me. And I feel like being around other people who appreciate an art form as it is and just doing it to get out emotions or stress and just enjoy it. They're doing it just to simply enjoy it because they love it. I feel like it's nicer being around people like that, because it's like we both love this thing. We could bond over this thing, and we both do it because we care about it. We love it. Like, we don't really have I don't know how to put it into words, but it's more relatable, I guess, to work with people like that. Where it's professional, it's scarier. It's good because you get money, but it's not always about money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Where do you see the Oklahoma art scene going?
Oh yeah, it's growing. I think it's wonderful. Like I always see art shows and art festivals. I think that's like a beautiful thing. People are just, I feel like it inspires a lot of people to create more. So I think it's great here. I love art and music here. I feel like it's huge.
Yeah. It's sort of been I'm just going to turn this into the conversation. It's sort of been a thing with the music scene, and kind of extends a little bit more to like the comedy and arts and stuff. But like, it feels like the Oklahoma creative scene is sort of only being fueled by other creatives. And I think the hard part of what is making it like not get off the ground is that we're the only ones helping each other, whereas like the market isn't spreading out and being like, you know, there's not some guy that gets off work at Chesapeake or something and is like, I'm going to go see a show tonight, or I'm going to go see some stand up or something. And it's like, it's hard to see, I guess, like where it can go. Like, I know that there are creatives here, but it seems like we're just kind of, yep, we have the thing. It's great, but like no one's seeing it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think artists definitely support other artists. Other people just don't really think about it. They're just busy with their own life. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Because like other places do have, like, I mean, Austin, New York, Seattle, LA. I don't know so much about San Francisco. But like those are places where like the culture of the city is sort of surrounded by art rather than just like, oh, like, again, in Oklahoma, it feels like there is no art scene, quote unquote, to like everyone else, or like normies.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like people don't really. We have a lot of festivals, a lot of art things, a lot of. There's so many shows, so many like local shows, comedy shows. They go to like 4 a week. They're everywhere.
You're right.
Yeah, I feel like it is something that you kind of have to look for if you want to do it. But like with bigger cities, you know, there's like murals and stuff, and that kind of like forces people, or it's like, hey, like look at this thing, and I guess that gets more people more involved. But I mean, Oklahoma City could do better with that, but like how you said it really is like artists kind of supporting artists, so we understand the struggle. But I don't know, I think the only way to kind of make that better or get it more known is just advertising it or getting it out. I don't know, like speaking about it, talking about it, posting about it. Otherwise people don't really pay attention. And
I mean, it could also be just that like the circles don't really overlap as much, and so it's
for sure,
like, you know, all the comedians and all the musicians have like, you know,
their own
crummy day jobs that they're like, oh yeah, we just do this, but then like this is my whole thing, as opposed to like, I don't know if the mayor of Oklahoma City could name, you know, 10 local bands or whatever, or comedians or whatever it might be, even though like that's part of the thing that represents Oklahoma City.
It just all goes in with how much you involve yourself with the community.
Where would you see it going, I guess?
I want to say I see it growing and getting bigger and more out there, just because I'm hopeful of that. I want people of all forms, like all like different, whatever, no matter what you do, no matter what you like. I want people to appreciate art more, because I feel like there's art in everything, and like that's just beautiful to me. And like I feel like, I don't know, I want people to to go to shows more or to art galleries or get more involved with that. So I'm just hopeful that they would, but I don't really know how else you could do that without being like, do this or force people like go to this thing. If it's free, people are typically more liable to go as well, which is, but it kind of sucks because like that kind of puts artists or musicians and puts them at kind of like a, oh, well, I'm not getting paid for this, which makes you not want to do it as much or try as hard. So I don't know. It's like a win-lose battle, I think.
Yeah. I mean, how do you get involved in the community?
Looking what needs to be done. Like, I know that doesn't probably make sense, but if you want to help or you want to get involved, you have to involve yourself. You have to like look up, when's this thing happening? Does someone need like if there's like a charity work thing, like I need to know when it's going on, what's going on. It goes like with really anything, you have to just involve yourself and like try to find it rather than letting it find you. Because if that's the case, you're never gonna, you're never really gonna find anything.
Just because I'm curious, can you explain some of your tattoos?
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a preference on which one?
What's this dude on the bike here?
Okay, so this is my little fish on the bike. His name's Jared. My dad's a fisherman, so I originally wanted to get a fish because of him, and then my brother taught me how to ride a bike. So I was like, it fits. But there's also a saying that's I messed it up last time I said it, so I don't want to mess it up again. A woman without a man is like a fish without a bike, or something like relatively around the lines of that, which basically is like you don't really need a man. And so the tattoo to me represents the only men that I really need in my life is my dad and my brother, and like no one else is as much relevant because I had like this really toxic thing where it's like I always felt like I had to be with someone to like kind of validate myself, if you will. So the tattoo's kind of like being it's a constant reminder of, hey, don't be stupid. Like you don't need to rush into anything. Just live your life now. Like people who care about you. You don't have to find something else to validate you or to make you feel whole again. And that was something that was like hard for me to acknowledge about myself. So the tattoo's like it's just a constant reminder, and it's like it's my baby. I love this thing, and it's helped. It's really helped. It gets me like thinking and reminds me like why I got it and what it stands for.
Reminds me of there's a Blur song, and the chorus is, I don't need anyone, but a little love would make things better. Although with a British accent. And then I guess the one next to it. Sure, yeah.
This one doesn't really have one to me. The TV tattoo was a few years back, my family lost our house in a flood. And we had to rebuild, and we really didn't have really any money, and everything was really stressful, and we just didn't know what to do with our lives. We were stuck, and like we thought we were screwed, and my mom was putting money aside to save me up concert tickets for my birthday for 21 Pilots. And we really didn't have the money for it whatsoever, but she really wanted that for me because she knew how much I loved them. And the tattoo really represents the sacrifice that she's made with that. Like she did everything in her power to make sure I got to have that night. I got to have a good birthday. And when I went, I was like so emotional the entire show. And then my favorite song by them is We Don't Believe What's on TV. And when they played that song, I just broke down and just cried my eyes out. And it was like one of the best feelings in my entire life, one of the best days of my entire life. And I wanted to always have that memory and my mom's sacrifice on my arm of that, just to be like, it's a good feeling to be like, we came from nothing and you still did everything you could for me. And it's just a representation of like love and sacrifice.
Yeah. This is why I like asking about tattoos, because they're stories.
Yeah, this one has nothing.
It's just like...
Yeah, I just got that one. I was like, okay, cool.
And that's also a thing, too. It's
like, for sure. They don't always have to have meaning.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any yet, but I plan on it.
What do you want?
So I always end the podcast with like the 3 things that shaped my life philosophy. And so it's love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong.
Oh, cool.
And so I want to get those on my wrist just to like always be reminded of them. Because it's one thing to just kind of like have it as a mantra. It's another thing to like physically look at it and be like, oh yes,
always
remember that in this situation, you should remember that love never fails and that it's going to be okay. And in other situations, I don't know, I might be wrong.
Yeah, definitely go for it. Like they're fun to look at. They're good, and they're always good reminders. They are addicting though. So once you get one, that's going to be it.
Yeah,
You're going to be you might be covered.
Yeah. But I mean, other stuff, like I am also the type of person that just like plans everything ahead,
which you should. It's good. It's
yeah,
smart.
Yeah. And so it's like I know that I would want this. I know that Sable's my fiance. That Sable and I want to get like tattoos like for each other, and maybe even have like constellations associated with each other. I'm a very like science fiction person rather than like, you know, I wouldn't get like swords or flames or whatever.
Whatever speaks to you.
Yeah. But like I don't know, there's like a normal or a common tattoo aesthetic, and I'm like not wanting that. But I don't know. I think tattoos have grown over the years a bit more.
Oh,
where
yeah,
like
for sure.
it's not just like the sleeve with the tribal stuff. It's like, I mean, you have like lemons.
Yeah. Definitely like research your artist, and they're good. I think they definitely are a lot more common, which I love. I love that so much. It's a lot more accepting to have them, but you do have to think about it because it's on you forever. It's like it's a big commitment, but I definitely say you should go for it. I think everyone needs at least one tattoo in their life.
Sure. Do you regret any?
Yes. I regret my pinup girl one a lot because they did not do it at all the way I wanted it to be done. It was the one time I truly researched an artist, of course, ironically.
Yeah.
And that can happen. Like, you know, people mess up. It's life. But I hate the line work of it. The color is completely off. It's supposed to be one cohesive color, and it's not. And I do regret it. I'm going to get it fixed up as much as I can, but if it can't be fixed, I'm gonna remove it. But all my other ones, I love and I adore them.
I mean, it's also expensive, which is like
but
the hard part.
It's on you forever. So if you think about it like that, it's a good price. And they're another artist too, so it's like support each other.
Yeah. What's the little monster there?
Okay, so this is from a game called Scalar, a PlayStation 2 game that I grew up playing, and I was obsessed with it, and this was my favorite character from him. He looks like a little gremlin boy, but he's my last tattoo that I got, and I love him. I want to get, like, I have another video game tattoo as well on me. I'm trying to get things, like, from my childhood or games like that or music, things like that I enjoyed a lot to kind of fill my body up with. I don't know. It's like a storybook on your body.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that's cool. So,
and that's a hurdle that I'm like waiting to see if I do, because it's like it's one thing to have something on me that like, oh, this represents me sort of originally, but then it's like, here's something that someone else did that represents me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that there are things that speak to me to that level that I would get a tattoo of it, but I'm like waiting to see when that would be.
Oh yeah, it's good to wait on things too, because if I have a tattoo of everything that I want last year, I would hate myself. You have to really put consideration, but I don't know, whatever speaks to you, whatever feels right. If you do start getting them, I recommend starting with your legs first, because I feel like that's more hidden. So if you do regret it, you don't see it as much, or it's not as obvious. So that's a good place to start, I feel.
I think it's also like places like jobs that are hiring people don't really care as much anymore.
Yeah, super nice. So nice.
But I still would probably never definitely do like a face tattoo or anything.
Oh yeah. Then you have to really, really want that in order to get that. That's gonna be there's no hiding that. There's no.
Or even like neck tattoos.
Yeah, I think they're cool, but a lot of places people are more accepting of it, but especially if you have a neck tattoo, people are kind of like scared of you. Which it sucks, but that's just how it is. I don't know. I don't know if I ever would go that far with my tattoos. I'm not brave enough for that.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. I think that and then I kind of have sort of like a mental rule of I wouldn't really want to get anything on my back because like I want to be able to look at the art and appreciate it. And I would just like forget that there's something back there. And so it's like
you do.
Yeah.
You definitely do.
And so it's like someone's like, oh, hey, the thing on your back. Like, wait. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah.
No,
sure.
Oh, it happens. It happens like really with any placement. I have one on my shoulder and I'm constantly like, I see it in the mirror and I'm like, oh crap, what's that? And I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have them all over. Like I have a bug on my ankle and like there's some times where I see it, I'm like, oh crap, and like freak out because I think it's an actual bug. Like, you forget about them all the time.
Sure,
but especially if they're on your back, like for sure.
There's a freaking tarantula on my back.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I put a tarantula on my back.
Yeah. It does get you sometimes, especially when you just get the tattoo because like it's just not like hasn't really processed your head. Like, oh yeah, I have new ink. I do that all the time. That and you run into everything all of a sudden when you get new tattoos, and that's just
Yeah. How do you? So like, do you for certain shoots? Do you try and like cover up certain tattoos if it doesn't like work with the aesthetic that you're going for?
Not exactly. I have 13 tattoos and they're decent size, so I can't do regular modeling as easily, but I also can't do like tattoo modeling because I don't have enough. So I'm like in that weird middle ground.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really so much add or take away from photos because I have like a decent amount, but like my little gremlin boy over here, he I did one shoot and my leg was up and that made the photo look kind of weird, so I probably should have covered him up. But he was like 3 days old, so I kind of really couldn't do much. I couldn't do anything over him. But for the most part, like people don't really care. People sometimes like to showcase them. I have one on my hand, and I have a lot of people when I model it. A lot of people want me to have either that on my face or kind of out towards the camera to kind of show that off. We just kind of use them, I guess, to an advantage. If not, they're just there.
Yeah, because I mean, like, because if you're trying to say something in the image, and it's like, but this has nothing to do with it. Like,
yeah. For sure. That's like the little gremlin boy definitely messed up that one photo that we took because it just completely killed the entire mood of the photo. But he's my baby, so it's okay. I love him.
And I mean, I guess you could Photoshop it, but then it's like,
I have one photo on my Instagram where I Photoshopped my Gerald tattoo right here. I Photoshopped him on myself because I just don't like having photos of myself without them. Like other people, I probably don't care, but for me, it's like, it's a part of my body, and like I can't imagine myself without my tattoos now. Yeah. So I like to have them in the photos, but like when other people take photos of me, I don't know. We don't really ever talk about it, but
yeah. I mean, maybe they should, but like,
maybe.
Do they ever just like, put a photo that you modeled for, and you're like, where are my tattoos?
I would like, if they actually ever took them out, I would be really upset. Yeah. Honestly, I'd be like, hey, like, where are they at? Like. I get it. Like people have different visions and they want things to look a certain way. Yeah. And there are other models they could work with. I enjoy modeling, but if it comes to that, I would rather not do it because I love my tattoos. Like they are a part of me. It's like a package deal. Like they're here. They're gonna be in this, or I'm not gonna be in this. Yeah. So I don't know.
And I guess like, what about piercings? I don't think I could do piercings, but like,
really?
Why?
Do you like any piercings?
I mean, I think the like nose ring thing on the side is really cool. I wouldn't do it for myself, but like, Sable has like a fake one that she puts in occasionally if she feels like it, and I'm like,
just spice it up. Yeah, they're cute. I like little nose rings are like the cutest. I love those.
Yeah. So like, why? I guess.
Another self-expression thing. Same reason why tattoos dyed my hair. It's just they're fun. Just like spice up your look. You could take it out. It's fine. Sure. Mine are my nose over here is stretched, so I have like a really bad scar. But like sometimes it's fun to put in because I'm like, hey, look, like this. It just changes your look. Like it's just makes things. If you ever like want to look different, it just makes you look different. I don't know. It's just an add-on, if you will. I guess.
I guess it's more like because I don't even have like my ears pierced. And I don't want more holes in my body than I'm supposed to have.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
But like, and one of my good friends had like gauges at one point, and then he like grew out of it, and now he has like the floppy
ears. Yeah.
Like, dang.
That does suck. It depends like what size you go and how fast you do. I had mine stretched too. So that's why I only really wear hoops because I just like my hoops just like spin around in my ear. Everything else kind of goes through it.
Sure.
But you got to be careful, really careful with that.
Yeah. At least the like scene kid thing only was like a short amount of time.
Oh god. That was a dark time in life. My whole scene phase.
I mean, I kind of did it, but I wasn't even really a part of it. But just straightened my hair.
You straightened. Yeah, you're one of those. Yeah.
I've never dyed my hair though.
Really?
So, yeah.
Any reason why?
I don't mind my hair color.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Because what's your natural hair color?
Brown. I have light brown hair.
Sure.
But I haven't had that color in probably like 7 years.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It's personal preference, but like I like the color of your hair. If you like it, you feel good with it, then just keep it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to keep it too.
Sure. And I don't like, I just like shampoo and conditioner, and people are like, "Oh, I love your hair." So I'm like, "Sure, okay."
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it works for you. That's good. That's more than enough.
But I've never, or even like, because I do cosplay and different colored contacts. Like I hate wearing contacts.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's the type of contacts, or maybe it's just I'm bad at putting them in. So by the time that I put them in, they're like, you know, all gross and dirty, and so I'm just like dealing with that in my eyes all day. But I don't know. I've been pretty okay with like how I look, and I don't really I haven't felt the need to like do something else.
Yeah. Good.
Yet. I don't know.
Yeah, some people are just content. I get bored so easy. So
right,
I change things constantly. That's just like different preferences. So yeah. When you do get your contacts, though, do you get them like kind of like the black market type of thing, or do you actually go to an eye doctor?
Oh, no. I just so this weekend I was cosplaying as Levi from Attack on Titan, who has bluish gray eyes. I did blue, but like they're just like cosplay contacts, just colored contacts.
All right.
And even though I wear glasses, I actually haven't gone to the eye doctor in like 6 years.
No, that's not good.
No, it's not good. But like, so I don't even remember what my prescription is, and so it's just like
that's probably why they hurt. Your eyes are like, what is this? Like, what is this foreign object? Or if it's like not sized properly. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, no.
Go do that. Go set an appointment.
Yeah, but I'm poor.
That's a big mood. I feel that.
Yeah. I spent a lot of money this weekend at the convention, so
all right.
Well, what's like your go-to hair color though?
Blue.
Yeah.
Hence my name. Yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah, blue or pink. It's like my go-tos, but it's typically blue. So.
What's something that you haven't done it?
I've done everything. I think the only color I haven't fully done is lime green. Or lime green and yellow. But everything else I've done. I've done rainbow, I've done patterns, I've done every color solidly. I've done my bangs every color at a solid point. But I don't know, I've been dyeing my hair for like a decade though. So yeah, I had a lot of time to experiment.
Right. Well, how is it not destroyed?
You know, that's a good question. I have no idea, really. My hair grows super slow, which that part sucks, but I cut it decently often. Like it's kind of bob. Typically, I'm actually about to cut it again, and that kind of helps a little bit.
Sure.
I have no clue, honestly. I wish I knew. I use a lot of vegan dyes a lot too, or like plant-based things.
Okay, yeah.
So like that's better on your hair, but
it probably like washes out faster.
Like I've had hair like come out in clumps before. Like when I first started doing my hair, I double bleached it, or I would dye it with like box dyes, and my hair would like come out like in giant clumps, and that was bad. And I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't bleach it twice. Now I don't do that, and now it kind of stays intact. So that's good. That's good with me. If it falls out, then I'll just buy wigs. It's
Sure.
But
or you could do like the buzzed head look for a while, and that's.
I thought about it, but I have a real big head, so I just think that's gonna look like I'm gonna look like an egg, and I don't know if I want that.
So in high school, like my sophomore year, I had like a buzz cut.
Really?
And I think that everyone feels nervous about like, I can't do like the shaved head thing. But like I think everyone would look fine with any hairstyle just because it eventually just becomes that hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it doesn't matter, like, who you are. You could probably, like, go completely bald.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd just be like, yeah, no, that's just them now.
Yeah, I guess you get used to it, and it's like, it's what you see and it's what you notice. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer, too, that, like, confidence, you can pull anything off with confidence.
Exactly.
Anything.
Yeah. And so, I mean, because I also did the opposite, and, like, by my senior year of high school, my hair came, like, down to, like, the middle of my back.
Wow.
And so, one, my hair goes really fast. But I don't know, like, I liked how I looked then, but I also didn't mind how I looked with a buzz cut. So it's like, people just get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just get used to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after dyeing your hair, do you ever, like, startle yourself in the mirror? Like, oh, crap. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time. Because I forget I dye it sometimes, and it's like, oh, yeah, like, it's orange right now. Like, okay, cool. I think my biggest issue with it is it stains everything. Like, my tub and my sink and, like, my counter. Oh, my God, my counter. Oh, my poor counter. Other than that, like, I don't know. There's some times where I'm like, it does freak me out, or like I'm like, I forget that I dyed. Other than that, like, it doesn't really, I don't know, think about it.
You dyed specifically for shoots?
Yes. Yeah, which isn't also good for your hair because I, like, strip it after and I'm like, oh no. So I'm trying not to, like, dye it right now, but it's killing me. Like, I hate the way it looks right now.
That's cool.
Eating me away.
Blu, thank you for this.
Thank you.
Plug your stuff. Where can we find you on all the things?
My Twitter is Little Lirette. Lirette's LIRETTE _. And my Instagram is Little Over My Head, LIL for little. And
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And if you won't say it, I will. But Blu takes really awesome pictures of everyone and herself, and it's just, like, really good. So check it out.
Thank you.
And it's like a great variety of stuff, and there's really good everything. Check it out.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah. And so once again, I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Blu Lirette.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. You can download my demo, Songs with Words, for free, or you can pay money for it. I'm playing a show. Well, so this goes up on Thursday. So I'm playing a show tomorrow, all of a sudden, at 51st Street Speakeasy with the Sweet Talkers and Don't Tell Dina. So go check that out. Music starts at 10. I'm not sure what the cover is, but pay money to support local music.
Yeah.
And then what's the next show that I'm doing? It's July 19th at the Patriarch in Edmond. That'll start at 8. And I'll be there for like 2 hours. So that's a lot of music too. And you should check out Solstice Cosplay, probably on YouTube, but also on Instagram, solstice_cosplay, which is where I perform and do make music and audio for Solstice Cosplay, which we just performed at Acon, and we will perform at Tokyo and Tulsa. So there's all that. Always in my podcast, my 3 things that shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.